your mind, now my mind. Two of a kind, but one won't survive. My image is reflecting the enemy's eye, and his image is reflecting mine at the same time. I against die. Flesh of my flesh, your mind, now my mind. Two of a kind, but one won't survive. Right here's where the end gon' start at. Conflict, contact, combat. Fight a sin where the land is marked at. Settle the dispute about who the live is. 3-word answer, whoever survived this. Only one of us could ride forever, so you and I can't ride together. Can't live or can't die together. All we could do is collide together. So I'll skillfully apply the pressure. Won't stop until I'm forever one. A doorstep where death never comes. Spread across time till my time never done. And I'm never done. Walk tall, why ever run? When they move, if I ever come. Bad man never fret reward. Tell them come, general, we are gonna start the march. Fire fun. I against die. Flesh in my flesh, your mind, now my mind. Two of a kind, but one won't survive. My image is reflecting it.
All right, everybody, welcome to Foo Gaming Live. 1 second, Foo Gaming Live. You're watching us live on Rumble and YouTube.com. Give me 1 moment. Just going to check the stream, see if everything's lined up. It took a long time to get this to work. All right, 1 second. Checking to see if all this stuff is running. Checking to see if all this stuff is running. Okay, we are live. Again, we're live on Rumble. I'm going to get the link from rumble.com right now. I'll be putting this in the YouTube channel because I'm probably going to be leaving. We're going to be going out early in the stream. We're probably going to go and switch over to just Rumble by itself. Trying to migrate over to just Rumble. 1 second. Going to check the stream, see if everything's lined. Okay, right now I'm putting the link to the Rumble. To Rumble, our Rumble channel. It's the Real Food TV of rumble.com. All right, guys. All right. All right. All right, so today we're going to be talking about these new devices from Valve. They've shown off a VR headset, new controller, a new Steam machine. It's looking pretty exciting, I think. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. All right, we're going to be watching some videos about it. Analyzing it, you know, talk about what do we like about it? Do we think it looks cool? What do we think? All right, 1 moment. This is incredibly hard to set up, people, right? All right.
Hey, everyone.
Okay, 1 second. Okay. This is the announcement video Valve put out today. There's a lot of coverage on this. They're saying these new machines are coming out in early 2026. Pretty cool. It's exciting to see new hardware. All right, let's see it.
This is Steam Deck. Steam Deck is our powerful, portable, handheld gaming PC that lets you take your Steam library with you anywhere. We're pretty proud of it. People who own Steam Decks have been playing everywhere, and we couldn't be happier with the response we've heard from all of you. We're excited to talk about the future of Steam Deck, but not today, because this isn't a video about the future of Steam Deck. This is a video about the future of Steam hardware.
It's really crazy that they're going to be releasing all this new hardware along with a new Steam Deck. All right, you kind of forget that the Steam Deck's been out this long. It's been about 3 years now.
Today, we're announcing 3 new members of the Steam hardware lineup. All connect you with powerful PC gaming. All are optimized for gaming with Steam, and all are shipping in early 2026. Let's start with this one. This is the new Steam controller.
Not too big into... I was noticing this earlier. I'm not too big on those sticks being that close together. A bit too close, I think. But that's the way they had to put it on there, so it's not on top of the buttons. I mean, maybe it's comfortable in the hand, but looking at it, the sticks just look super close to each other. Like people with big thumbs, they might be knocking their thumbs together. Another weird thing about this is that it looks sort of like a Dreamcast controller, which I don't mind, but I mind a little bit because the Dreamcast controller was kind of cramped. It had like a kind of cramped feeling. It would give me like hand cramps. But I don't know. Maybe it's big. It's a big controller, so maybe that'll help with not having hand cramps. But it's still kind of exciting. Hopefully it doesn't cause cramping. But yeah, it does remind me a lot of a Atari Jaguar controller or a Sega Dreamcast.
New Steam controller. The new Steam controller puts all of your Steam games at your fingertips, so you can play wherever and however you want. Just like with Steam Deck, we want you to be able to play any game with your Steam controller, even games never built with a controller in mind. It has all the great features from Steam Deck, like trackpads, gyro, and back buttons, all in a comfortable form factor. Its next-generation magnetic thumbsticks let you play with improved responsiveness and longevity. We've put capacitive touch sensors on the thumbsticks and now on the back of the controller too, so you can enable precision gyro aiming with the touch of your thumb or your pinky if you're feeling fancy. Play for way too long with a rechargeable lithium-ion battery that allows for over 35 hours of playtime. With Steam Controller, we want to make charging and wireless pairing something that's actually easy. That's why we created the Puck. The Puck is a combination wireless adapter and magnetic charger included with every Steam controller. Snap it on to charge. Once you're charged up, snap it off again. You can play over Bluetooth or a wired connection too. The new Steam controller works with any device running Steam or Steam Link, whether it's a PC, Mac, handheld, smartphone, Steam Deck, or the new Steam Machine. Oh, this is the new Steam Machine.
This is the thing I'm excited for because I kind of like. Well, first of all, the thing they're saying is like 5 times more powerful than the Steam Deck, and I love the Steam Deck, and it's an amazing device. The big thing with the Steam Deck is I don't like connecting it to a TV because it's kind of clunky, kind of clumsy connecting it. You know, first of all, you got to plug the thing in the top of it. It's a little wire. You know, I feel like I got a lot of dogs, so they might knock the thing over, knock the damn Steam Deck on the floor, and then that port might break. You know, they have the wire in, so you have to prop this thing up, put it up on a table, this handheld, and then you got to configure the controllers and all this stuff. It'd be a lot nicer to have like a set box that you have on the table that's already configured. You know, it's a box and it sits there. It's got a little weight to it. And then it has like, it's already plugged into your TV. So all you do is just turn the thing on and boom, you just scroll around and play your games. I'm not going to leave my Steam Deck just sitting on a table ready to, hit the button and just play it. Also, this thing, once again, is it's basically like a Steam Deck, but set as a console. And it sits on your table. It's got the same OS and everything. And you just press the power, hit the power button, and boom, you scroll around with your controller. Everything's already paired up. Everything's plugged in, and you go. I think that's cool. And you play your PC games and your Steam games. So I think that's kind of awesome. I have a computer already linked to my TV that's always there. But once again, a computer, you turn it on and it just automatically goes to the Windows OS, and you got to scroll around. Many times you got to reconfigure your controllers in order to get them to even work. You got to go into the Windows Bluetooth settings because the Bluetooth is always unsyncing itself. So there's some issues there. So I think this is going to be a more streamlined option, I think.
Steam Machine is a powerful gaming PC in a small but mighty package, designed for your games on the big screen. It's quiet too, which is crazy since it's 6 times more powerful than a Steam Deck, powered by a discrete, semi-custom
So there it is, 6 times more powerful.
AMD GPU, enabling 4K gaming at 60 frames per second with FSR. Steam Machine runs SteamOS made for a bigger screen, built for gaming in your living room, your office, or wherever you play, with the rest of your PC accessories.
Kind of reminds me of the GameCube a little bit.
Steam Machine borrows some great features from Steam Deck, like lightning-fast sleep and wake, an SD card slot to easily expand your storage, and brings some new tricks of its own, like a customizable LED strip, which can show different system functionalities, or your own light show. Steam Machine is a PC,
oh, nice.
So run whatever software you want, and it works with all your favorite desktop and gaming accessories. Steam Machine is designed to work hand in hand with the Steam controller, with the low latency, wireless connectivity of the Steam controller puck built right in. And it's great for streaming your games to your phone, tablet, laptop, Steam Deck, or Steam Frame. Oh, yep, this is Steam Frame. Steam Frame is Valve's next-generation VR hardware. Stream all your Steam games, VR and non-VR alike, in this comfortable, lightweight, wireless VR headset. Steam Frame uses camera-based tracking, so getting into your games is as easy as slipping on the headset and waking it up. Steam Frame controllers, included with the headset, are designed with all the inputs you need for your VR titles, like motion controls and capacitive tracking for all your fingers.
One of the things I really like about this control, as you can see, is it not only is it like it's got the gyros in it, so you can use it for like first-person shooters or, you know, whatever VR games. They put all the face buttons on there. This is one of my issues with the what do you call it? The Quest controller, which I actually theorized this controller many years ago. I have conceived this thing a long time ago I was thinking of what would be the perfect gaming controller. And this was after playing some of these games with the Wii remote. Because I was like, actually, this is really awesome, the Wii remote, how you point and shoot. It's a lot more reliable than an analog stick. It's a lot more precise. The only issue with it is that when you move the controller around, since it's tied to your vision, you know, to the panning of the camera, now and anytime you drop your hand, your perspective's everywhere. You know, the screen is moving everywhere because it's tied. You have your aim is tied to your controller, and that the main reason for that is that they don't have analog sticks on there. So what I thought of is that you would have it where the analog stick would look, but your hand, when you move your hand, would be what moves the object, what points the reticle. Like for example, if it's a first-person shooter, you would be pointing your hand, your entire hand. You will move it around, and the gyros and the control would be the thing. Or it could be the gyro or the infrared or the pointer. That would be what points at the target that you're going to shoot. And then the analog stick is what lets your head look around. It doesn't make it where, you know, you move the reticle and then it moves the screen. That's the big issue with the Wii. And these new VR controls from the Quest kind of address this. And basically, they created what I thought of forever ago. It's almost the perfect controller. And I really think that even Xbox and Sony should learn from this. This kind of control should be standard in gaming. We should not be aiming and shooting games or in any game with an analog stick. Analog sticks are great for looking around the environment, for turning. The left stick's good for movement. That's what these controls are great for. These kind of controls are great for, you know, fighting games and for looking around and for platforming games, right? But they're not good for games that require you to aim at things. An analog stick is not well equipped to aim at things. So this should be standard. Gyro aiming and this is gyro aiming, this control. So that should be standard. And the fact that they put all those buttons on there now allows you to use this control for everything. Everything from fighting games to driving games to shooting games and all of it. So this thing is pretty awesome, and this is yet another control these guys have created. And yes, it's very close to the Quest controller, but I'm liking it. And this control could be used for any game, right? Any game. And also the fact that they're not paired together, you know, it's not one controller, allows them to create other game types where you can now hold two objects at the same time, right? Instead of like once again, in a shooting game, you're holding a lot of times, even if you have the gyro controls, it's just one gun at a time. Now, you could do things like dual wield or use one hand to pick up an object and the other one to shoot things, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot more options here now. And since these are standard, these controls look to be basically, to me, these look to be like the perfect controller, possibly the greatest controller ever made. This is sound. This is perfect.
For all your fingers, as well as a split gamepad layout to work with your whole Steam library.
You see?
They even feature
split. You see that split gamepad? And it works with every game. These controls for the Quest and a lot of these gyro controllers do not work for every game. Along with the Wii, like remember the Wii, they created that pointer control, which was pretty awesome and innovative. The only issue is that it almost had no buttons on it. It had very little buttons on it.
The same magnetic thumbsticks as Steam controller for responsiveness and longevity. Steam Frame also pairs seamlessly with the new Steam controller, a great companion for playing non-VR games in the headset. To make sure streaming is smooth and stable no matter what.
It's funny that just the other day I bought a little adapter in order to play my Steam Deck and Xbox Ally in my Quest, in the Quest VR helmet. And now, just like 3 days later, this device they're showing off this device, which does exactly the same thing I just did the other day.
Steam Frame includes a wireless adapter that lets you stream your games from your PC to your headset over a fast and dedicated Wi-Fi 6 connection. And the game is streamed to your frame optimized for VR. using new technology that allows for the highest resolution streaming exactly where your eyes are looking. And Steam Frame is a PC, running Steam OS. In addition to streaming, you can install and play a bunch of VR and non-VR games right in the headset without a host PC. You can also expand your onboard storage to fit even more games with the
So that's cool. It's sort of like the Quest. It plays games locally.
microSD card. Steam controller, Steam machine, and Steam Frame. All built with the same DNA as Steam Deck. All powered by Steam, work together, and can be used however you'd like with whatever peripherals and accessories you choose. Everything you see here is the culmination of what we've learned from our previous hardware experience and what we've wanted ourselves as gamers. Powerful PC gaming in an open ecosystem, giving you more ways to enjoy the games you love and discover new ones. Steam Controller, Steam Machine, and Steam Frame are all shipping in early 2026. Learn more at steampowered.com/hardware.
All right, so they're showing a little compilation here. We'll see this in a second. Before we watch, remember to subscribe to The Real Foo TV, the greatest channel known to man. You're watching Foo Gaming live on YouTube and on Rumble. All right, this is the very first episode of Foo Gaming live on Rumble. What's up, everyone? Welcome to The Real Foo TV. All right, if you guys want to support The Real Foo TV, I think we only have it on YouTube, but our Venmo's in the description of the video. All right. Here we go. If you're on Rumble, just subscribe. Just add us, people. Add us. Looking pretty cool. I just hope they do something with those controls. Once again, those VR controllers, those don't have to be used just for VR. Like they said, those work with all the games on Steam. Unlike the Quest controls, which only work with certain kind of games. That's awesome. You know, because you'd be able to put that helmet on and play Street Fighter or whatever. And the fact that they're a split design allows them to, once again, do different kind of play styles. Basically VR play styles, but without a VR helmet. But with added stuff, you know, you got more buttons on there to do more with. So there you go. All right, Valve's they're doing real good here. People making some big moves. All right, they're getting big into the market. We're gonna watch a little bit of a troll who's hating on the Xbox as they, you know, always have to. All right. 1 second. I was watching this video earlier today. The guy, he had some funny takes. Right, so you can see here. Xbox hell, right? As always, when I see Xbox, it's always negative, guys. So it has to be, right? All right. Let's see. Can I see the description? I'm going to see if I can find the title of this guy's video. A lot of information coming out about this Valve, these new this new hardware these guys are going to be punting out later in 2026. They're saying early 2026. Okay, there's Steam Machine specs analysis. Valve might price Xbox out of gaming. That's what you call, just got to be blunt, that's what you call retarded. But the thing is with these people is that they, I don't know if they like to exaggerate or they're just hoping and praying for this company's death. And how would it be Xbox that's the one that's taken out of gaming? Why would it be Xbox? It doesn't make any sense. Xbox has purchased many game companies, one of them being Activision. That alone will keep them relevant for possibly for the next over the next 20 to 30 years. They'd be relevant in the market. It's Sony who truly has to worry because they don't really have any real growing IPs. I mean, to me, games like Uncharted are kind of, you know, they're really kind of not that relevant anymore. Sony hasn't made an Uncharted in years. And they really don't invest much into software. So what's really keeping them in the market? The thing that's keeping them in the market is like third party. That's it. Xbox has tons of software. All right. There's really not a lot on Sony right now, people. There's not much there. Okay. And then Valve, how's Valve going to take Xbox out the market? How's that going to happen? I'd like to know, and that's why we're going to watch this video. I don't think he knows. I think he's just being an alarmist, or he's just hating on the Xbox because it's cool to do that. But it's very unlikely that Valve would be the one to take them out. Sony definitely will not take them out the market because Xbox has more software than Sony does. They also have better services with Game Pass. They're just, in my book, they're just a better, all-around better company. All right, let's see this.
So then I said,
all right, so I watched a little bit of this guy's video earlier. And I did it because I saw that title. I'm like, this is retarded. It's like they don't understand. Look, Valve is I really like Valve. I really like Valve, but Valve doesn't really have much over Xbox. I mean, they just have at the most, they have a very smooth interface with their big picture mode. But any company could create a smooth experience in that way, in that kind of smooth big picture mode thing. And now what we have from Xbox is they're coming out with what they call a hybrid console. So they have the best of both worlds. They have like a streamlined PC experience, which in my book, the Windows PC experience is far smoother than a Linux-based system because there's tons of software that isn't compatible with Linux, right? And if you use Linux, they're saying that there's less overhead, which is true, but they can cut that down, and they're already cutting down the what they call the fat of the OS. They're already doing that right now with this new big picture kind of Xbox experience. But you got to keep in mind, Valve doesn't really have anything outside of this very smooth interface. And Xbox is already addressing that with this big picture mode they've created for this, what they call the Xbox experience. Another thing that Xbox, well, one of the big things Xbox has over Valve is first party content. They have loads and loads of games, Minecraft, Halo, what's the other one? Call of Duty. They have tons and tons of software, okay? Then they got Game Pass, the services. I've been saying this over and over again. The next generation is going to be about software and services. And I think Xbox has the services already. They're going to have the streamlined OS, just like Valve, but then they're going to have the services, and that's Game Pass. And that Game Pass is filled with software. And a lot of that software is what Xbox owns. Valve does not have that. All Valve has is, I mean, they really don't have anything over Xbox. They really don't. That's the thing. And so that's why I don't see them overtaking Xbox. I don't. If anything, I see Xbox becoming the dominant company in the industry in the next 5 to 10 years.
At all. I just thought it might be fun to tease my fans about an upcoming Valve announcement after a couple of my contacts just tipped me off that something big was going to be announced by the company in under 24 hours. And you know what, though? Thank you to the community for showing so much support and so much excitement for that tweet that I put out tipping you all off that indeed, yes, Valve was about to announce a bunch of new hardware. You see, when I see that level of engagement from the Moore's Law is Dead community, especially on a subject like Valve, a company I rarely leak information about, that tells me I should focus on it, that there is a huge hunger out there for a...
I'm just going to cut ahead. The guy's a little bit annoying. And I bet you there's going to be a lot of different influencers on YouTube saying the same, all over the internet. Influencers all over the internet saying this stupid shit about how this is going to kill the Xbox. It's always the same thing. Like I told you, it's all doom and gloom with these people when it comes to Xbox. It's a cool thing to hate that company, and that's really irritating. Man, why wouldn't it kill Sony? Once again, Sony is not really offering anything, okay? But a big important detail in this whole Valve thing that people aren't really talking about is the fact that Steam Deck does not run this little game called not Halo. It runs Halo. It doesn't run a game called Call of Duty, and that's a big problem. And that has everything to do with Linux. Linux has compatibility issues, okay?
More often without having to pay any fee to do so. So Sony might actually have to respond to this thing if it's a huge hit. And Xbox, oh my God. Look, forget the PS5. The Steam machine is going to be at least double the performance of the Xbox Series S. Well,
he says at least. We don't know this, people. We don't know this.
Possibly costing the same or slightly more. It's easy to dunk on Xbox, but it's just part of the video. I have to do this. This one
All right, let's hear that again. What do you say?
going to be at least double the performance of the Xbox Series S, while possibly costing the same or slightly more.
All right, so it's going to cost, it might cost the same or slightly more, but who's to say that'd be the case? Look, there's almost no chance in hell that this new Steam unit will cost the same as a Xbox S. I doubt it. It's going to probably cost a little bit more, but you got to keep in mind, people, the next Xbox is right around the corner. It's right around the corner. They're going to be dropping the prices of the Series S.
It's easy to dunk on Xbox, but it's just part of the video. I have to do this.
You also have to consider these different deals these guys have with retailers. I have yet to see a Steam Deck at a single store. I've never seen it. Maybe they have them at GameSpot, but I've never seen a Steam Deck ever. Not a retailer. I bought it online. I've got them online. I never see them. Well, you know what? I always see Xbox S's. These Series S's are all over the place. Best Buy, everywhere. Best Buy, Walmart, GameStop.
This will make a complete mockery of the Xbox Series S. And when you look at how small and quiet it's intended to be,
wow, it's more powerful than a system that's going on 6 years old.
About the PS5, it could bring competition to PlayStation in a way, but I think it is abundantly obvious that the Steam machine is an Xbox.
I like how he says this stupid shit of it's going to kill the Xbox Series S. But, it might give the PlayStation some problems. I mean, look, the PlayStation's towards the end of its life cycle, the PS5. So it's very unlikely that this thing is going to move 500 units on the console. I just don't think it's going to happen. And it's most likely not going to outsell the Xbox Series S either. That's not to say that the thing isn't cool. It seems kind of cool. It's like a more powerful big picture mode Steam. You know, it's just a little portable PC thing. You know, a little box like a GameCube with the Steam OS. It's cool, but this whole stuff he's saying about how it's going to beat Xbox, it's very unlikely.
Series S killer. And really,
The Series S killer. Well, in order to be the Series S killer, we'd probably have to outsell the Series S, right?
makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? I mean, PlayStation and Nintendo, they've won the console war against Microsoft. And in fact, Phil Spencer has been admitting this directly for years now. And so I believe that Valve knows.
Okay, people, I'm looking it up right now. Online, it says a market research firm, IDC, which uses... wait, give me 1 second. It says it uses production lines to track the number of units shipped, has now released its estimate. We learned that 5.972 million Steam Decks have been shipped worldwide so far. 3 years after release, the Steam Deck has sold. All right, so according to this, the Steam Deck has sold 6 million units. Okay, 6 million. Just so you guys know, the Xbox Series consoles have sold over 30 million. All right, so the Xbox was around for 2 years more than the Steam Deck. Just 2 years, man. It's not a huge amount of time, right? It's 2 more years, and it sold over 20 million more units than the Steam Deck. So once again, it's highly unlikely that this machine, this new one, is going to outsell the Xbox Series S. It's new to the market. You know, a lot of people on the PC know Steam, but in the console world, a lot of people don't know it. Okay, that's pretty good that they sold 2 million. Or 5.972, almost 6 million units they sold. Okay, but that's shipped. That's not even sold. That's shipped, right? But here it says 6 million, but the exact number is less. It's just a slight bit less than 6 million. I'm kind of surprised by that. I thought they sold more of them, but that's a pretty decent number, right? But built on that number, it's unlikely that this little box here is going to sell. That it's going to sell more than the Xbox Series S. I just don't think it's going to happen. But this is just a baseless claim from a person that is a fanboy. Just another person that feeds to the little trolls, feeds them this idea that any of these guys are just going to kill off the Xbox because it's a big trend. But they've been saying for years, people, that, this game's going to kill Halo and that game's going to kill Halo. They have this label. They say Halo Killer. But it's yet to happen yet. No one's doing it. Not even Sony's biggest first parties could dethrone Halo. Like you look at a game like, for example, God of War. God of War on the PC sold something around, I think it was like 1 million units. And then you go and you look at Halo Infinite, the last one that came out. Day one, that thing sold 5 million units on the PC alone, right? That means something. That's not even the console people. That's it. That's on the PC. That's a big deal because you look at Sony's first party on the PC and they don't sell jack. They don't sell very well.
The next thing Microsoft will
And then
do-
the guy talks about this shit. Phil Spencer says Xbox is not trying to out-console Sony or Nintendo, and great games alone won't solve its problems. This is what these guys like to say because first of all, they first start saying that they say Xbox has no games. Now they have shit tons of games, and so now they say games won't help them. It's fucking disgusting. Spencer says even games like Starfield won't dramatically affect console share. So you got to keep in mind, people, these guys are putting their games on everything. All right? It's on everything. So people can purchase, they can find their games on other platforms. All right? That's going to cut down their console sales. Now, if they went, these guys don't care to be stuck in one box. That's not their game. This is one, but look, if they did make it their game, what they would do is they would take Call of Duty, they would take Fallout, they would take Doom, and they would take all the many, many, many other games they have and just stick them on one box, right? That's what they would do. And then maybe they get some exclusive partnerships with some third parties, and they would just keep everything exclusive to the box. You know what that would do? That would make their system sell. That would make their console sell probably like crazy. They might actually have a chance to outsell Sony at that point when it comes to console sales. But that's not their game, because at the end of that road, you only got this small pool of gamers, console gamers. It's been known for a long time. The market's built around 200 million gamers. That's what it is. But as a whole, there's around around 1 billion people that play video games. So Xbox games, they want to branch out and be on everything because they want to sell their software and services to 1 billion people. This has always been their vision, to sell to 1 billion. They don't want to be stuck in this little pool of people that's only 200 million gamers. They want to be selling to the billions. That's really their game. So this whole thing of pointing out, they're not selling as many consoles. Yeah, they're not selling as many consoles, but do you realize that Minecraft sold somewhere around, I heard, I think it was about 300 million units. Okay? 300 million. They would never be able to sell that much if they stuck themselves on one console. Not even Sony could do that. Not Sony or Nintendo could sell that many units of any piece of software. The reason why is because they're stuck in one box.
With their Xbox brand is try to retreat from console competition into the PC space.
This is a retarded. It says they're trying to retreat from console competition. The Xbox has been on PC for over 2 decades. I don't know if you guys know this, but Halo 1 and 2 were both on the PC, along with Gears of War and some other Xbox IPs. They're not escaping. They're still on console. The only thing is when you branch out and you put your software on everything, it de-incentivizes people from purchasing, disincentivizes people from purchasing your console. Now they will purchase it, but there's a chance that they won't. Because they can say, hey, well, I can go buy a PlayStation and I can still play all the Xbox games that I want to play. But if I buy an Xbox, then I can't play those Sony games, right? I can't play those. So I'll buy a PlayStation and I'll still buy Halo because it's on the PlayStation. So that's how it works. And it looks like, to me, Microsoft is going more into the world of software. And the way I've said it many times on the show, the future of gaming is in software and services. It's not just in hardware anymore. It's mostly in software and services. And Xbox has got all of them beat. They got Valve beat, they got Nintendo beat, and they got Sony beat. They got the Game Pass with the day one games, and also many third-party games are put on there because of the deals that Xbox makes with these third parties. And then along with that, you have Game Pass, you have the third party stuff that they get the deals. And then the last thing is these guys, they have, they have their first party, right? They have software. They have the software and they have the services. There you go. Pretty simple.
And in doing so, bring more competition against SteamOS, right when SteamOS is starting to eat Microsoft's gamer lunch. And so I think that's where the Steam machine comes in. I think Valve is
Complete bullshit. Everything this guy's saying is absolute bullshit. They ain't eating no one's lunch. Keep in mind, people, they can never eat Xbox's lunch because Xbox, the company that owns their Microsoft, has $4 trillion in the bank. And also, you got to keep in mind, like I just showed you, the Steam Deck sold 6 million units. The Xbox Series console sold over 30 million. Okay, they sold over 30. And then money-wise, this company over here, Valve, is worth somewhere around, they got a good chunk of money. They're worth, from what I heard, they're somewhere around $7 to $12 billion. It's somewhere around there. Maybe, actually, I think it was 7 to 16 billion. That the estimate is somewhere around there. It's like in between 7 and that. There's not completely sure, but it's around 7 billion, 16 billion, around there. The Xbox, once again, is worth over, well, Microsoft and Xbox is worth over $4 trillion. Okay. And this quarter alone, I think it was the first quarter of 2025, the Xbox raked in $5 billion. But these guys are going to eat their lunch. In one quarter, they made enough money to be worth as much, or possibly about half as much as Valve, right? They made $5 billion. Valve is worth like 16 billion. Like in a year, these guys make as much as Valve is worth. That's kind of a lot of money, I would think, right? That's a decent amount of money, 5 billion. They're eating their lunch, yet they're being outsold. Like Xbox is outselling them, right? Steam Deck, 6 billion sold. The Series consoles over 30 billion. Okay. And they haven't been around that. Like, look, they just had a 2-year head start, the Xbox, the new Xbox. 2-year head start, and they sold way more than Valve. So this whole thing about them eating their lunch is absolute bullshit. It's made up.
sitting here going, hey, you got this fancy Xbox Magnus coming out soon, but it's not coming out right now, is it? We don't need anything fancy. We don't need to have some super expensive bespoke APU that we design with AMD. We can just, again, play Scrapyard Wars, go to AMD, say, hey, what's the best price performance products you can give us that hits this level? And we'll Frankenstein together something right now that launches a couple years before you're able even to compete with us, and competes at a much lower price.
A couple of years, they're competing with them right now, buddy. They're competing with them right now. And also, that box has already been analyzed. That box that's in the inside of this Steam Deck thing. And that, not Steam Deck, this new Valve console, I don't even think, it's not even, they're saying it's not even as strong as a PS5. It's not as powerful as a PS5. And so you got to keep in mind, the Xbox Series X is more powerful than a PS5. It's significantly more powerful than a PS5. So this is probably why this guy is pointing at the Series S. That's why he's pointing them out. Because he knows that the X is more powerful than this thing. So they're going to be competing with this Xbox Series S. I highly doubt it. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And I mean, it looks like it's a compelling piece of hardware. It looks cool, but this argument is just stupid. They're not going to compete with it. By the time this thing comes out, Xbox is going to be moving on to the next piece of hardware, and it's going to be far superior to this Valve box because it's a hybrid console. So in a lot of ways, this is the worst time for Valve to put this out. Now, if they would have put this out 3 years ago, then it would have been a different story because this is a hybrid console. That's what it is. It's a Linux-based PC, you could say, right? Just like the new Xbox piece of hardware is going to be a Windows-based PC, but it has the Xbox experience, just like Valve has their big picture mode. So once again, they're going to be going head to head with Xbox, which is, believe it or not, a bigger name in gaming, in gaming as a whole. It's just a bigger name. More people in the console world know who they are, and not only are they a bigger name, but they're putting out a piece of hardware that's a hybrid console, just like the Steam Deck. So just like the new Valve console. So again, if they would have put this thing out 3-4 years ago, it would have been a different story because it's a hybrid console and it would have been the only one on the market.
Is Microsoft is also telegraphing that their Magnus console, which I've already leaked if you want to see everything about it, including pictures, it looks very cool, but I believe it's going to be very expensive, and Microsoft has basically said that publicly as well. And so I think this could be almost another Steam Deck versus Asus or ROG X.
They're trying to compete with PC gaming. They're trying to get the PC gamer dollar and the console gamer dollar. This new Xbox is, from what I hear, going to be extremely powerful. So look, you're most likely not going to get those big PC heads buying this low-end PC to replace their current PC. When, you know, the thing that Valve's putting out, they were probably more likely to buy that new Xbox console, which is like a honking crazy high-end PC. That would be something they would probably replace their current PC with.
Xbox Ally X situation again, where yes, Microsoft launches the stronger console eventually, but it will be years after Steam has already been there, hitting a minimum level.
It's not years, buddy. Not years. This system that Valve's putting out comes out in 2026. The word on the street is that the next Xbox comes out in 2027. That's literally months from the new Xbox coming out. It's just months. That's all Valve has, is a few months before the new Xbox hits the street. And while this new Valve system is out, they're going to be talking about the new PlayStation 6 and the new Xbox. That's what you're going to hear all over the place. So it's not the best time for Valve to put this out. So it's going to have to be competitively priced, but they've really lost that competitive edge when it comes to the hybrid console, because the new Xbox is a hybrid console. Okay? And this device, this new Valve system, most likely will not be playing the new console games, the new games in the future in any real crazy way. Probably won't. I mean, this thing right now isn't even running Cyberpunk at 4K. All right, and Cyberpunk came out on the Xbox One and the PS4. That game is a last generation title.
Performance that most people think is acceptable.
And I understand it's a high performance game and they've added a lot of features to it. It's hard to run on any system because there's so much on there. The reality is that most people's systems are not tapping out Cyberpunk because all the ray tracing and all that stuff on there.
At a much lower price that might make people shrug if Microsoft charges too much for their next gen console. So at the end of the day, Microsoft, you've already been pushed out of the console space. Now Steam's looking to...
They weren't pushed out of the console space. They are still in the console space. They're just not selling as much because of fanboys. That's one thing. Fanboys who wanted to go buy PlayStation because these people hate Xbox because of reasons they don't even know. But they're not out of the console space. They actually sold more Xboxes than Valve sold Steam Decks.
Make sure you can't get...
And you got to keep in mind that the Steam Deck, if you bought the lower end versions, they actually cost less than the Xbox Series X. But still, the Xbox is outselling them.
Back into the PC gaming space, make sure you really think long and hard about how much you want to charge for Xbox Magnus. Because to me, when I look at the creativity and the Scrapyard Wars console they're throwing together, they're ready to fight you and fight you tooth and nail for this new little PC hybrid console kingdom they have been building. All right, that is going...
Yeah, well, Xbox has also built a PC hybrid console, and that PC hybrid console has this thing called Game Pass on it, which lets you play Call of Duty, and the Steam Deck can't even run Call of Duty, okay? The new Call of Duty games don't even work on the Steam Deck, people. The moment that people see that, they're going to be like, nah, no, thank you. They need to iron that shit out, right? These guys have a lot more pull. They have a lot more power. They have a lot more resources. So when they put out a hybrid console, they're probably going to iron out a lot of these issues a lot quicker than Steam Deck will, right? It is cool. It is cool, but this whole doom and gloom about the Xbox it never stops being corny. All right, we're going to watch a little bit of some info about this new system from the guys that designed it. But before we do that, we're going to look around for some more trolls. I'm going to type in, I bet you I'm going to type in Valve. I'm going to the U-Cylinder search engine, I'm going to type in the word Valve. And I bet you we're probably going to find many stories about this. Xbox is going to be killed by the Steam Deck. Steam machines are back. All right, this is what this is called, the Steam machine. Valve does it. Steam machine is here, even though it's not here. Doesn't come out till next year. All right, this is the reactions on the internet. You know, when it's not Xbox, it's all positive. Just like a week ago when the Xbox announced they were going to be doing a hybrid console. A couple of weeks ago, they announced it, actually. And everyone shit on them and said, oh, yeah, they're desperate. They're dying. And then Sony came out and they says, hey, by the way, we might be doing a hybrid console. And everybody online was saying, oh, my God, this is a win. This is amazing. Right? Now Valve comes out and they're releasing a piece of hardware that's weaker than an Xbox Series X, and this guy's got, you know, the perfection sign up. Valve just beat Microsoft again. So look, I didn't even type in Microsoft. Look, I just made a prediction. I said that I bet you I'm gonna type in Valve, and you're gonna see people typing shit about Xbox, right? Instantly. I told you it's the cool thing to hate, and that's why these motherfuckers are so pathetic. That's what they're just hoping and praying for, the death of this company. And it's never going to happen. Come on. $4 trillion in the bank. If anything, all these fucking companies are going to die before the Xbox does. I'll tell you that. These guys got enough money to power Xbox to all the other companies die. Right? It'll just be, when the nukes go off in the gaming industry, it'll just be Microsoft and the roaches, right? All the roaches coming out of that PlayStation 5. All right, so Valve just beat Microsoft again. This guy's actually got a very big YouTube channel. And once again, this is what happens when you brainwash the public into hating a company. They're just going to do that, and it's going to actually hurt the sales of that system's hardware. All right, so I typed in Valve, and boom, instantly it's going to kill the Xbox, right? And scroll around. I'm pretty sure there's probably tons of these idiots saying this dumb shit. All right. Fixed old mistakes. All right, so they fixed some of the mistakes they had with their very first Steam controller. 1 second, just scrolling around. MetaQuest killer. This is the new Valve headset, and that one's going to kill the MetaQuest. I doubt it. MetaQuest is a pretty popular headset, and who knows how expensive that Valve headset is. They haven't said how expensive it is. All right. So we're going to go down. We're going to look at this guy because he has a pretty big YouTube channel. Again, the video, he put it out 6 hours ago. It's already got 74,000 views, right? And there's a little advertisement. Of course, right? He's going to have an advertisement, right? They monetize all these little cornballs. The guy doesn't put any work into the shit he puts together. You see it, not even his thumbnail. It's just him doing an OK sign with his hand. It's pathetic. All right, but I'm not going to show these ads. We're going to wait till the ads are over, then we're going to analyze this trash video. But before we do that, remember to subscribe to the Real Food TV, the greatest channel on demand. All right? And we're going to be going to Rumble real soon. We're on Rumble right now and YouTube. We are streaming to you live. We're going to watch a little of this guy's garbage video and analyze it. We just like to analyze these trash hot takes from time to time.
PC. So, ladies and gentlemen, obviously, people have talked about the Steam monopoly, and you know what? I don't even think it's really a monopoly if gamers pick it. You know, if gamers are like, you know what? We get a lot of features with the Steam platform that other people don't give us. Great deals, great, community features.
Fun fact, you don't own anything on Steam. You own nothing. So this thing about deals, again, these guys are pathetic because these were the people that said that the Xbox is trash because of DRM, and then they have the nerve to go and praise Steam. You don't own anything on Steam, you scumbag. It's all DRM. Not a single game is your... Nothing. You own nothing.
And
they give us great deals on games we don't own.
Let's just be honest, cloud saving has never been amazing as it is, at least on the Steam Deck, okay?
It works amazingly on the Xbox, I'll tell you that. Works perfectly.
Game on my PC, turning it off, and then playing it again like 5 minutes later on the toilet here is just absolutely a treat. Now, of course, it's not just about the Monopoly, that's old news. Today, Steam Machine got announced again. Now, if you're having a little bit of deja vu, yes, like 10 years ago, I made a Steam Box video where I made my own Steam Box. Now, for instance, for anybody that doesn't know, the Steam Box is not a new concept. Valve.
All right, guys, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get some to drink. Then we're gonna analyze the rest of the Scumbags video. All right. Be right back after these messages. Once again, you're watching the greatest channel known to man. This is Foo Sports Live. And by Foo Sports Live, I mean Foo Gaming Live. And we do too many sports videos in here. We'll be right back. And I love you.
I against I, flesh of my flesh, your mind of my mind. Two of a kind, but one won't survive. My image is reflecting the enemy's eye, and his image is reflecting mine at the same time. I against I, flesh of my flesh, your mind of my mind. Two of a kind, but one won't survive. Right here's where the end gon' start at. Conflict, contact, combat. Fight a sin where the land is marked at. Settle the dispute about who the live is. 3-word answer, whoever survived this. Only one of us could ride forever, so you and I can't ride together. Can't live or can't die together. All we could do is collide together. So I'll skillfully apply the pressure. Won't stop until I'm forever one. A doorstep where death never come. Spread across time till my time never done. And I'm never done. Walk tall, why ever run? When they move, if I ever come. Bad man never fret reward. Tell them come, general, we are gonna start the march. Fire fun. I against I. Flesh of my flesh, your mind of my mind. Two of a kind, but one won't survive. My image is reflecting the enemy's eye, and his image is reflecting mine at the same time. I against I. Flesh of my flesh, your mind of my mind. Two of a kind, but one won't survive. Survive, 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 survive.
All right. 1 second. All right, we're going to go back to analyzing this scumbag.
Back in the day, worked with Alienware, Alienware, whatever you want to call it. They built this device. It was okay for its time, but it was pretty overpriced. I would say it's $600. Now, the problem with the original Steam Deck is obviously, or Steam Machine, is that, Valve released the original SteamOS, which was Debian Linux based, and they kind of expect.
He says it's too expensive, but this new thing that Steam's putting out is most likely going to be somewhere around $500. No doubt about it, that thing's going to be around there. Because that control is pretty sophisticated. It's got like all kinds of new rumble things in it. It's got like touch sensitive sticks. It's got 2 track pads on it. It's got gyroscopes. It's got back buttons. It's got all kinds of stuff on that control. That control by itself probably costs like $70 or something. Probably somewhere around there to create. And then you have the system itself.
Big companies to port games over to Linux. Why you would spend money to port your game over to a audience of people that is at the time less than 1% is beyond me, okay? I think Linux users back then were like 0.1%. Now we're at least on the board. So of course, Valve comes in and releases a couple new products that they've worked on. So obviously they've got the Steam Deck.
This guy should try eating meat. Look at those circles around his eyes. My God.
No, I know. They've got the Steam controller, which again, that is a definite day one buy for me because I love.
It looks like a damn Atari Jaguar controller. Not a huge problem with it, but well, I kind of have some issues with the ergonomics. Like I said, it also looks like it's got sort of like the ergonomics of a Dreamcast control, which had some issues there. But right now I'm typing in Jaguar. All right, 1 second. Atari Jaguar control. I'm going to show this to you guys right now. Okay, we're going to look at that right now. It looks similar. Just saying. Watch. I'm going to pull this up on the screen, open a new tab. This is the Atari Jaguar control. Right? Looks kind of familiar. It looks a little bit like this new control in a way, right? Am I wrong? I'm getting a little nostalgic right now about this new Valve control. I think I'm going to get it. I mean, it looks pretty cool, this new Valve system. But, I mean, I do really enjoy the Steam Deck. But by the time this thing comes out, the new Xbox isn't too far behind it, you know?
Love these fucking trackpads when it comes to playing old school PC games. Absolutely a good time. But of course, obviously, they've got the Steam Frame. I'm not so into virtual reality, so this is not my forte, but it looks okay. Now, I'm going to look at Steam Machine, which is your games on the big screen. Now, apparently, this has been touted as something that's like 6 times stronger than the Steam Deck. Basically, it's a GameCube that you connect to your TV, okay? It's basically a computer that you hook up to your TV, and you can use it like a console. Now, to give you a quick idea, I've been kind of doing this with the Steam Deck dock. A lot of Steam Deck.
Well, that's one of the reasons for the dock. But I said it earlier, I'm not a huge fan of docking it, because it's just there's some production that goes into it. You know, I got to prop the system up. I guess you got to have a good stand. There's some things to it. It's not hard, but still, it takes some time.
Stuff here. So this is something that I paid like $100 for, and it's basically a dock that you can connect your Steam Deck to. And
you can buy them for cheaper. I've actually bought some docks for about what, I think $30, and they work just fine.
Steam Deck as if it was a console. You can connect a PlayStation controller, Xbox controller, some Switch Joy-Cons, a dildo, whatever the fuck, to the actual Steam Deck.
He would attach a dildo to it, wouldn't he? Fucking pervert.
Provided it has Bluetooth, and use it as a controller. And for me, it's been how I've done most of my console gaming. Now, do the games look as pretty as the PS5? No, they don't even look as pretty as the PS4 sometimes. But it's like a Nintendo Switch, you know, you hook it up to a TV, you play some of your games, it's that convenience factor. You can play a game on a big TV, rip it out of the dock, and play it in your hands in fractions of a second. So none of this is super duper new to me. So of course, looking at the actual...
No, it isn't new at all. It really isn't.
Like device over here, ladies and gentlemen, this is...
A lot of this is going to come down to the price. If this thing is $600, it may be dead in the water. Okay? I will buy one because I really enjoy my Steam Deck, and I like the experience. I think it's got a great experience. But you gotta keep in mind that for the general public, if this is just like the Steam Deck, that's going to be a problem, because the Steam Deck, a lot of times you have to work to play these titles. You have to go and download patches and so on. So it's not a totally streamlined experience.
Where your Steam library is in one place. So it's got SteamOS, it's got a small form factor, it's cool and quiet, I/O for days, and of course...
The fact that it has that Steam OS and it's 6 times more powerful is incredibly enticing. And that new controller, yeah, I think I'm going to get it. I think I actually would sell my PS5 and get one probably. Maybe. You know, I do like the fact on my PS5 I can play my PS4 games. So wait, I can't play Last of Us on my... Well, actually, I couldn't play Last of Us on this new Steam machine. But from what I hear, this system's not as powerful as a PS5, so that's not really that enticing. You know, that's the case.
CPU and GPU allowing you to have 4K gaming at 60 frames. I love when companies, even as
that's not true.
Beautiful as Valve can be, that's a straight up fucking lie, and we'll get to why it's a
I
lie,
agree.
because they very much say it's FSR, so it uses upscaling. Basically, it's when your game runs at a low resolution, and using software trickery and black...
Yeah, it means it uses stuff like checkerboard rendering, and it uses it might use scaling as well, where it scales things down. You put 4K, but it's not always 4K. It uses dynamic resolution.
Magic, it upscales the image, so it looks relatively decent. Now it's got storage, so 512 gigabytes all the way to 2 terabytes. And it's expandable with micro SD. So good job right there. Connectivity looks pretty good, and the power brick is built right in. And that's what the actual device looks like. I would not actually obscure anything.
I don't understand why they do that. The power brick's built in. Why? Like they should save space and put some bigger components in there. Why take up space with the power brick being in the system?
To the actual device simply because I think it just needs good flow. But yeah, it looks like a cube. It looks like a.
It's like they took that idea from Xbox. Remember people back when the Xbox 360 came out, they had plates. They had changeable plates. But, you know, they didn't have it like this. Those would snap in. This is kind of cool. It's like magnetized, but I'm going to assume that those are pretty... Putting those plates on there might be a little pricey, or maybe people, what they're doing is they're taking the plate off and adding a decal to it, because since the simple fact that it pops off easy like that allows you to pretty simply put decals on there. Cool. It's a cool design.
Nice form factor. And they even stuck in an LED strip. Me, I don't necessarily care about LEDs, but I'm sure there's a lot of you people that do, so there you go. And, ladies and gentlemen, because it's a Steam box, a Steam machine, it's also a fucking PC. Now, remember a while back, years ago,
It's a Linux PC, so it isn't exactly the best PC. The OS is very similar to Windows. It's like basically a clone, Windows clone, but it just doesn't run that many. It doesn't run a lot of software, a lot of Windows-based software. You got to use something like Wine Bottler and different softwares in order to unlock Windows games. But, you know, with the Proton, it actually is pretty cool. I have the game. Actually, some of the games on there run better than they run on my PC. Even though my PC is very powerful, it's way more powerful than a Steam Deck. This thing, because of the Proton, it actually will run certain games better. Like, for example, Chronicles of Riddick, Dark Athena, and Butcher Bay. They both run amazing on that Steam Deck. I mean, I was running the thing at 7 watts and it was hitting 90 frames. Now, it wasn't consistent. It was dipping a little bit under 90. But once you put at 8 watts, it's like locked 90 frames per second. It's pretty crazy. You know, if you put that on your Windows PC, it's gonna push a lot of energy in order to run that title. Also on the Ally, the Xbox Ally, that game runs very inconsistent. Even though the Ally is more powerful than the Steam Deck, it runs that title with a lot of fluctuations in frame rate. Another one is a game called, the other one was, forgot the name of it. Man, I'm trying to think of the freaking name. I'll tell you later. There's another game that ran really well on the Steam Deck. There's tons of games that run well on the Steam Deck. Steam Deck runs older titles amazingly, and compatibility sometimes is better on the Steam Deck. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that people have been working on this Proton compatibility patches for years now. And so I wouldn't mind getting one of these, because one of the things would be playing older games because of the Proton and the fact that people have been working on this stuff for a little while now. Some of those games are going to run better, but a lot of games might not run at all, and certain software would never run. A lot of Windows-based software would never run on this machine. So that's another thing to keep in mind when you're buying a hybrid console.
I said, you know what Xbox needs to do? They need to turn their system into a gaming PC. They need to.
They're already doing that, bro. There's the Xbox Ally. That's a gaming PC. That's basically like the Steam Deck, but instead of using Linux, it's using Windows. And it's the same thing with the new console that's coming out. The new Xbox is a hybrid console. It's a high-end Windows machine.
The Xbox, and they need to allow gamers to install Windows onto the box and actually use it like a gaming PC. Microsoft was never winning against PlayStation or even Nintendo. But if they allowed gamers to have a box that they...
I don't even know why he just said that. That's not true. Xbox actually beat Nintendo twice. They beat them in the same generation with the PlayStation 2. It was a PS2, Nintendo, and Xbox. The Xbox actually outsold Nintendo 2 generations in a row. They beat them with the OG Xbox, and they beat them with the Xbox 360. Okay? What's up, man? All right, people. We're streaming live on Rumble and YouTube. What's up, man? How you doing? We're looking at, we're just watching some videos right now. They're talking about this new hardware release from Valve. They're putting out a new headset, two different kind of controllers, and a console, a hybrid console.
They could buy at the store for a decent price and turn it into a gaming computer. That would be just something that would kill the market. Microsoft has the technology. They have the tech through virtualization exactly for it. They never capitalized.
They're literally doing that right now. Is this guy living under a rock? This is what Xbox is doing right now, and they've already done it. They've put out the Xbox Ally X. They're doing exactly what he said they should do. They're already doing it.
Okay, they never did.
They never did when they're currently doing it. Look at this. More evidence of next-gen Xbox being a PC hybrid console shared by Microsoft. Yeah.
Microsoft nowadays, it seems like they're finally starting to do it now with the next generation of Xboxes. They're supposed to be PC hybrid systems. And you can kind of see this with like Xbox handheld devices, where Microsoft has released
the Xbox always had elements of the PC. It always did. That's where a lot of their thinking comes from. This idea of upgrades, these free upgrades, right? When you update your hardware, you get the upgrades for free. It isn't like Sony and Nintendo where they charge you a upgrade fee. They also the original Xbox, they had that what do you call it? They had your online identity that went across all the games. When you used to play online games on the PS2, you would have to sign in a new profile for every single game, right? You would every single time. It wouldn't just be you have one Xbox Live gamer tag and it goes across all your games. No, that shit was not streamlined at all on the PlayStation. You had to have a new username game by game by game. And then along with that, the PlayStation 2 didn't even have a modem on it. When that thing was released, it had no modem. It was just a console that didn't go online. Okay, the Xbox from day one, not only did it have a modem built into the system, Sony, you added it on later. You like screwed it into the system. The Xbox, right out the gate, it had a 10 gigabyte hard drive in it. No other system had that. They were planning on you downloading all kinds of stuff from the internet, games and so on. And then along with that, the system had a modem that connected with an Ethernet cable. Back then, when the Xbox came out, people were using like dial-up. There were still people using dial-up, 56K modems. These guys had a Ethernet port on it.
Or they worked with Asus ROG to make the Asus Xbox ROG Ally X. And this device allows you to effectively have the Xbox experience. Now, I used this briefly at a friend's. And for a device that's about $1,000, it's not a bad device. The actual interface is basically Windows with everything.
It's not $1,000, people. There's two different units. It's similar to the Xbox Series setup, where they have this S, which is like this. They even the color of them is the same. You got one that's white, and that's the lower end model. And then you have the black one that's the higher end. Is this some kind of weird racism going on here?
Unloaded when you initially started, so you can kind of just use.
I don't know if you guys noticed this, but when it comes to the Xbox, it seems like the black units are always the more like powerful ones, right? So you have the Xbox Series S, and it has like it's almost like it's funny because it's coded like the stormtroopers in Star Wars, right? Stormtroopers are white and black. That's what the S is, and then the big honking badass powerful system is just all black. Okay. But it's kind of coded because you look at the Xbox 360 and they had the first unit, which was like the base unit, right? And that was white. And then the Elite Xbox 360 was called, that was black. It was a black unit. What the hell?
The Xbox interface with a controller attached. If you need Windows, it actually loads up all the extra bloat, but then you have to restart the system in order to
all these guys always say this is the big thing, bloat. They use the same wordage every time. They don't know that the Ally, when you put it in its gaming mode, actually cuts a lot of the bloat out. It runs in a gaming mode, the same way the Steam Deck does. The Steam Deck actually has two modes. It has a desktop mode and a pure gaming mode. The Xbox Ally does the same thing. It has a cut down version of Windows that goes into the gaming mode.
Bit of it. It's basically Microsoft's way of trimming the fat without kind of not redoing the entire operating system, so to speak. It's still not as impressive as a Steam Deck, but it's still...
That's not true. It's way more powerful than a Steam Deck, first of all. Second, it actually is more compatible with way more software. I've used the thing for a very short period of time, and in many ways, it's way more streamlined than a Steam Deck. Running software on there is a breeze. If you're gonna do emulation or whatever, you can run software on there just as you would on a Windows PC. Where on the Steam Deck, you got to do all kinds of workarounds to get these Windows applications to run. It's kind of a pain in the ass at times. All right. So what he's saying here, a lot of it isn't true, right? Also, the system's more powerful than the Steam Deck.
System, so
Just
to
saying.
speak. It's still not as impressive as a Steam Deck.
And he's
but
saying it's not as impressive. They've actually done comparisons. And at times, this thing actually runs faster than the Steam Deck in the game mode. They were trying to see if the Steam Deck would run faster than the Xbox Ally. And some testing was done, and the differences were minuscule or not at all, or at times the Ally was even faster. Because they think that, because of the bloat of Windows, that somehow the Steam Deck is going to run faster, and it's not the case.
It's still better than just having a Windows handheld or just the standard Windows experience, like the awkward tapping the touchscreen to do almost anything. Now, whereas Microsoft is focused with AI and all that crazy slop shit they're putting into their operating system,
Yes, that's the new thing now. Everybody says slop.
Valve is out there optimizing the shit out of the Steam Deck. So, for instance, according to the spec sheet,
Valve still hasn't even got their virtual keyboard to work correctly. Steam Deck's been around for over 3 years, and many times you press something on the when it comes to the Steam Deck, when you press, if you go to a internet page, like a web browser, when you press to type in something, it doesn't even bring up the virtual keyboard. You have to go in and download a third-party keyboard. Yeah, and then you could type. Already on the Ally, when you press on a place like a search engine, you tap it, and basically every time the keyboard pops up and you type it. There's only some weird glitch sometimes when you turn the system on and you have to turn on the Windows keyboard. But at least the Windows keyboard is there. Unlike Valve, where you have to go download a third-party keyboard because their software is so messed up that many times it will not pop up their official keyboard, on-screen keyboard.
this thing is a semi-actual SoC, so they worked again with AMD. It's Zen 4, 6-core, 12-thread at 4.8 gigahertz. So interesting stuff there. The GPU is actually weaker than a PlayStation 5. It's a
Just like I told you guys earlier, it is weaker than a PS5.
RDNA 3 at 28 CUs. Now, while the PlayStation 5...
But there's more flexibility on this system, right? You can cut things down a little bit more. You can customize it some more than a PS5. So you might actually get more performance out of this on titles, just because you can cut it down in ways that PS5 doesn't.
is at 36 CUs. I think RDNA 3...
Also, it's safe to say that many of the games that you find on your PS4 or PS5 actually will run better on this piece of hardware, because PS5 is stuck playing the PS4 versions of many games, and this thing is more powerful than a PS4, so it's probably going to run those titles quicker. For example, I use this example a lot. If you play Mad Max on a PS5, it's running the PS4 settings, which means it only runs at 30 frames per second. On this device, it'll most likely run at 120 frames per second.
To just have more architectural advances that may make up for it. And of course, because it's customized, there might actually be a few things under the hood that none of us know about. Of course, when it comes to the RAM, they've got 16 gigs, and then they've got 8 gigs of VRAM, which is a bit of a scary thing for me because we might need a little bit more than that. But if all things go swimmingly, it may not be entirely needed. So of course, obviously, I'm not going to shit on Valve for some of the weaker looking things. If anything, I think the closest thing to this is that it feels relatively similar to something like an Xbox Series X, Series S, maybe a little bit more than that. But again, you'd really have to get your hands on the device and test it to understand just how it really compares, okay? Sometimes looking at a spec sheet doesn't really answer all of the questions you need. It does look like a pretty decent device, and I can imagine that it's probably going to be on sale for hundreds of dollars, maybe not the $1,000 threshold that companies are kind of pushing.
Now, I'd say probably $400 to $500.
Or at least they want to push. So it seems like an affordable device. And again, in a world where PC gaming is not entirely affordable anymore, like, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but RAM prices have kind of like skyrocketed. So this is just the trend graph. In Canada alone, since like May of 2025, RAM prices, no matter what chip you buy...
RAM is expensive. I mean, PC hardware is expensive. Yes, it's true. Consoles are expensive too now, They're also expensive now. It's insane. I noticed the other day, people, that my Xbox Series X actually, when I bought it, cost less than what it costs today. That's really surprising. It's all the way to the point that I could probably sell my Xbox Series X right now for the same amount of money that I purchased it for 5 years ago. That's crazy. And people would buy it. They would buy it because it would be cheaper than buying it in the store. That's something I've never seen ever in gaming, ever. Usually when a system is 5 years old, the value of it goes down, not up. So, pretty shocking to see something like that. All right. All right, so what's going on, people? The new Steam hardware is coming out. Digital Foundry did an analysis of it earlier today. I saw, and they said it's a powerful little unit, but it's not as powerful as a PS4 or an Xbox Series X. So hopefully it costs somewhere around $400. It'd be great if it was like $350. That would be amazing. All right. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to watch a little bit more about this new Steam hardware that's coming out. Right, got a lot of stuff, a lot of information about it came out today. I'm actually really enjoying that controller. Want to get my hands on that thing. Come on, Valve, send me some hardware, bro. All right. 1 second. It's crazy that Valve put out they announced 3 devices in one day. That is pretty insane. All right. 1 second, people. Just looking around right now, I had a video over here that I was going to show. 1 second. All right, you guys looking forward to this new Valve hardware? If you are, just put it in the comments, all right? If you're excited, right? We're going to watch a little bit of this video here.
Classic
and react
Valve
to
fashion, they've brought some very interesting technology into the gaming space. So there are 3 new devices. The first is their new Steam
It's funny, he has an Xbox Ally in front of him while he's doing this review
machine,
or this preview.
console-like mini PC. And then secondly, they have their new Steam controller. And then last is their new Steam Frame, an impressive streaming and standalone VR headset. So the first thing I want to get into is that Steam machine. It's a small box that runs Steam OS. So you get that super intuitive, very easy to use Steam experience for your TV or desktop gaming setup. And the performance goal here is that any game on Steam should be able to run at 4K, 60 frames per second with FSR 3. Now the CPU and GPU in here are both semi-custom chips from AMD. And the idea here is that the performance on this GPU is supposed to be over 6 times the performance of the Steam Deck. And it's packing 16 gigs of user replaceable memory as well as 8 gigs of video memory. Now, the first reaction when I saw this thing, I was like, oh my God, it's tiny. Like, it's basically a 6-inch cube. It's not a perfect cube. It's a little bit shorter and deeper, but it's basically a cube. And it is so weird how small it is. It's like 3.5 liters, and it's like this cube that can play games. There's a good number of ports around it. You have your display.
Oh my God, is that a GameCube? It looks like a GameCube. It really does. I hope they put some more branding on that thing. Maybe put the Valve symbol in the front. I think that'd be cool.
Port and HDMI, you have gigabit Ethernet, there's 1 USB-C on the back, and then there's also 2 USB-A on the back, but there's 2 more.
They should call it the black box, Valve's black box.
Up front, and you also get a micro SD slot up front. So if you have a Steam
They'll be
Deck,
like, the only thing that survives the console war is the black box.
and you store your games on a micro SD, you can just pop it out.
Why is he holding that device in his hand? Did he need to put that on the table to point at what a micro SD slot looks like? Like, what? Is he doing that because he knows that this is kind of like these guys are competing for the same space? You know, that's a hybrid console in his hand. That's the Ally. That's the Xbox Ally.
Bring it over into your new Steam machine, and you just transfer your game library over there instantly. It's like a very simple way to bring games over. You also get a magnetic faceplate, so they showed a couple variants.
See, that's pretty cool.
that you could swap around. And there's also a DIY one where one of the employees had made like an e-ink display on one of it. And then behind this panel is a dust grill that's designed to be easily cleaned. And there's also an RGB light bar that you have full control over. And they were talking about how you could have it show the download progress of games and updates. So you can start an update and then just swap over to
Oh my God.
show or something, and then when that bar is full, you'll know that the update is finished and now you can play the game. It's like a super simple addition to this, but it's just a nice touch. When you open up the cube, you can see it's a very dense cube. You can replace the storage on the
It's
bottom.
a huge heatsink, man.
The stock drive is a 2230.
It looks like an Xbox Series X that they chopped in half. That's what it looks like.
shorty, but you can replace it with the full-size 2280 if you want, and it runs a custom heatsink as well as a 300-watt power supply. There's no AC brick or anything, and the whole system is cooled with a very quiet single fan. And when it's idling and doing light tasks, it's like mid-20s, but even at full load, like maximum effort, this thing does 28 to 30 decibels. I brought my ear up to it, and you could tell it is a remarkably quiet.
He just knew it was 30 decibels because he put his ear to it. This guy is amazing.
And it's because they put a ton of time and engineering effort into like the thermodynamics and also like the fluid dynamics of like the airflow and everything. It is very well thought out. The airflow
Fluid dynamics, what?
comes in from the big intake on the bottom as well as the intake up front, and it flows through the system.
I'm having some fluid dynamics right now looking at the thing. Oh my God, it's sexy. I'm kidding. No, it looks cool. It looks pretty cool. They're going to need some branding on there. I think the Valve symbol or a Half-Life symbol or something on there, right?
Power supply and out the rear exhaust. Now, in terms of my
Oh,
expected
the way he said out, he's got to be Canadian.
performance from this device, I've only used one other laptop that had a similar GPU that had a Radeon 7600M, and the performance of that was similar to like a high wattage RTX 4060.
That is not good. No, sir. 3D Mark, the Steam Deck is way down there, but they're saying this thing is about 6 times the power of the Steam Deck.
laptop.
You know, the Steam Deck is freaking amazing. It really is, people.
Solid for 1080p gaming, but for 4K gaming, I think a lot of the heavier titles will need to lean on that FSR tech. So they let me play with the system for a while, and a couple things I noticed. The sleep wake was really good. I put it to sleep several times, and every time I fired it back up, it was right back into that exact same state. There was no stutter or anything. And I would say that the performance was just better than I thought it would be. I think I had like, because it was so small and so quiet, I was like, how good could this possibly be? But yeah, I was getting good frame rates off of an early demo, and swapping between 2 games was really fast and fluid. Now, quick note about the antennas. There's 4 antennas. 2 of them are dedicated to the Wi-Fi 6E connection. One of them is dedicated to the Bluetooth connection. So like if you want to play games on a Bluetooth controller, you just have, uninterrupted access to its own antenna. But the 4th antenna is dedicated exclusively for their own kind of in-house controller. Now, in terms of pricing, they didn't indicate exact pricing on this device yet, but they did say that they're not targeting like console pricing. They're just targeting, I guess, small form factor PCs, and it's just like supposed to be competitive with that kind of hardware. So like imagine
So expensive. That's what I imagine is expensive. Because you guys, if you noticed, the Valve Steam Deck is kind of pricey. I purchased it. I got 2 of them. They're pricey, man. I mean, not extremely pricey, but I know I think I got the OLED, and that thing was like $600. That thing was $600 when the Xbox and the PlayStation were $500. And the Xbox and PlayStation are more powerful. And I understand that's like, smaller components and all that, but it's still pricey. So basically what they're telling people is that this thing is not going to be console pricing. It's competing with more expensive hardware. So what he just said there, it tells you that they're competing with devices like there's these different handheld devices that are on the market. These handheld PCs, which are, some of them are up there at $800, $1,000, $1,300. So I said it earlier, I think this device might be at the least $500 to $600 at the least. So that guy, we saw his video earlier, he was going on about how this is going to compete with the Series consoles, Series X, not Series X, Series S. That's not going to happen if this is more expensive than a Series X. People will just go out and buy an Xbox Series X. And once again, this thing's gonna have compatibility issues. Right now, the Steam Deck cannot run Call of Duty. Can't run a lot of different. It can run some Call of Duty games, the older ones like Call of Duty 2, and some other games like Modern Warfare, but it doesn't run Call of Duty Black Ops 6. It's most likely not going to run the next new Call of Duty, which comes out today. And then many of the other ones that came out just like within the last 3-4 years. That's a big problem, okay? When you're trying to compete with the Series console, Xbox Series S, and you cannot run a lot of the software that the S can run. And it's not because it's not powerful enough, it's because of compatibility issues because of Linux.
It's just like supposed to be competitive with that kind of hardware. So like imagine if I had to throw a number out there, I would have guessed like $700-800, maybe like $650 when it's on a sale or something.
That's not a good thing. When it's on a sale, it's $650 when it's on sale. No, when it's not a sale, bro. We're thinking about when it comes out. Okay.
But nothing like crazy expensive, but I think a very reasonable. And
Yeah,
fair
that's
price
not expensive. It just costs more than a PlayStation 5. It almost costs as much as a PS5 Pro.
for what you're getting here. Keep in mind though that the hardware in here is not
And by almost, I mean it costs more than a PS5 Pro.
upgradable like a typical desktop. You can't swap out the like the CPU and GPU. Like you can swap out the RAM, but you are kind of stuck with the performance that you're going to get based on just how you bought it on day one. But I think for the people that
I don't understand why they don't put an expansion slot on there to allow you to plug in a more powerful GPU. Makes no sense to me at all. I think the route to go really with a box like this is you put this out, you put a high-end CPU in it, and then graphically you put a GPU that's almost a little bit more powerful than a Xbox Series S, right? Where you can get maybe at the most 1440p. You put something like that in there. Or 1080p to 1440p, and you use kind of like scaling. You put something like that in there. And then you try to sell it for around $400. It's got that nice CPU in there. And so you add an expansion port that allows people to plug more higher end GPUs into this unit. And that's really what's going to make the thing amazing, because now they're like, oh, well, I don't want to do, 1080p or 1440p. I want to get the high performance, 4K and all that. So what people do is they just go buy a GPU from the store. It could be a whatever, 4080, RTX, high-end cards and all that, right? It gives them more flexibility and it gives the system more legs to go on into the future. But instead of that, they put like all these kind of like mobile technology in here. Kind of a lower end CPU. And now when you put that higher end, I mean, look, they don't even give you an option in this thing to plug in a high end GPU. So I think that's one of the biggest failings of this thing, even though I really like it and I'm probably going to buy one. If it's not $800, because I already own high-end PC. I own 2 high-end PCs, and I have a Steam Deck. I have the OLED. I have the Xbox Ally X. I would just buy this thing because I really like the Steam Deck, and this gives me all the same OS of the Steam Deck, but it's already plugged in and configured for my television. So when I go sit down, it's already set up. Where with the Steam Deck, there's a couple of steps I have to make before I can get the thing rolling. This would already be configured. And it's, from what they're saying, it's 6 times more powerful than the Steam Deck. So, and they're kind of cross, with the cloud stuff. So if I play on my Steam Deck, it goes right to that. So it's doing something that, it's doing some stuff for me, because I was actually considering getting a dock that allows you to plug in a high-end GPU. But the problem is with the Steam Deck is it doesn't have that option. The Xbox Ally X actually has a port that lets you plug in a high-end GPU. So this thing here gives me the best of both worlds when it comes to the Steam Deck. So this would be like, instead of docking my Steam Deck and my TV, I would just play on my Steam Deck, and then my save games, I just play them on the TV using this device. I think that would be what I would use this for. And it looks like a really cool device. It really does.
Looking for this kind of product, this is like unprecedented. It's just so cool. Something so small.
But
so
I think
fun.
that's the best case usage for this when it comes to the Steam Deck.
And so
Meet Jim
All
Monster
right, so we got
2,
all right, Gym Monster 2. We got an advertisement right there. We're gonna watch the rest of this video.
Smart home gym.
All right, it's an advertisement. Before we get back into the video, people remember to subscribe to the Real Food TV, the greatest channel on demand. We're being streamed live right now on YouTube and Rumble.com. Right, this is the very first stream of the Real Food TV on Rumble. Welcome, guys. All right, anybody that likes the content, just remember to subscribe. If you want to watch some more of our videos, we are on youtube.com. We are The Real Food TV. This is the first live stream ever to this platform we've done when it comes to the gaming aspect of the channel. This is a variety channel, people. We do a lot of different content, some combat sports streams. We do a show called Food Theater where we watch classic horror films and sci-fi films. We have a lot of stuff here. So if you guys you want to tune in, just remember to subscribe to the channel and you'll learn what The Real Food TV is all about, all right? We're going to go back to the video here. All right. We got the audios off. That's the new control.
A few years back.
I mean, Valve people, they put out a lot of hardware and they're going to be announcing the Steam Deck 2. So I don't know, man. That kind of, in a lot of ways, that is going to hurt this product. But maybe not. Who knows? My guess is that the Steam Deck 2 is going to be this box here, this box that they're putting out. Basically, it's going to be a shrunken down version of that in the Steam Deck 2, possibly. This is they're saying this is 6 times the power of the current Steam Deck. But a lot of people are going to be waiting to see that Steam Deck 2. So whenever they announce that, that might kill this product on arrival, unless this is marked, this new this box they have here, the Steam Machine, is priced under the Steam Deck 2. It's going to have to be, because if it isn't, then this device, I don't know if it's going to survive, because I think people are going to go towards that Steam Deck 2. Right. And they kind of shot themselves in the foot, because that Steam Deck 2 is for sure going to have like a OLED that's 120 frames and all this other stuff. So I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. But I have a sneaking suspicion that this device here is going to cost more than the Steam Deck 2. And so that's going to make it where the Steam Deck 2 outsells it. And Valve is going to discontinue this little box thing here. There's a lot of hardware these guys are putting out. They got a VR helmet, they got a console, and they have a portable all coming out.
It's like unprecedented. It's just so cool. Something so small, so quiet, and so functional. Okay, second thing, the new Steam controller. So if you'll remember, a few years back, Valve launched this thing, the Steam controller Generation 1. And this was beloved by a lot of people.
I was actually looking everywhere to get that control. That thing is very expensive. Even though it looks kind of like a piece of shit, doesn't it? It looks very awkward. It's like they decided to not put analog sticks on there? I think it has one analog stick.
Bought it because it added, like, okay, so this section here, if you're unfamiliar with it, was a touchpad. And for a lot of people that want to do couch gaming, to be able to have like touchpad or just mouse-like support in game while sitting on a couch was something really cool. And we saw more of this tech when they launched the Steam Deck, because this had 2 of these touchpad type interfaces, and people, again, really enjoyed
You know what's funny about that thing is that I recently realized that that left touch screen thing they have on there, that mouse pad, that actually, if you click that, that's like a left click on a mouse, and the right is like the right click. I just found that out, and I had this thing for like 2 years. What the hell?
Using these pads to interact with certain games. And so this new Steam controller is basically like this Steam Deck control system, but turned into its own controller. So you get touchpad and gyro controls with top tier magnetic sticks, all packaged into this nice ergonomic design so you can use it for your couch or desktop gaming. And you can run it wired or with Bluetooth, but if you want the best connection, you run it with the RF transmitter. And this transmitter puck doubles as a charging system. It's so cool. It's magnetic and it's super easy to use. You just slide the controller.
Why is this guy's hand so damn dry? What the fuck? This guy needs to get some electrolytes in his body. Look at those fingers. It's very dry. Put some lotion on your hands, man.
Magnetic, and it's super easy to use. You just slide the controller over that puck and you get this satisfying click as the magnets suck on, and it's so good. I feel like every high-end controller should have a charging system like this. And
that controller sucks.
the magnets won't accidentally attach if it's upside down or something. It'll only connect the right way.
I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean it's like battery, like it's magnet, like a magnet that sucks onto it,
There's magnetic shunts. It's really neat. Now the controller feels awesome in hand. Now I tested it with a bunch of games, but there's one game in particular. It's like the Ninja Turtle Splintered Fate game. And this is a game I played a lot on my phone. I've cleared it a couple times. This is a game that needs a very tight and responsive controller. Any kind of latency will suck, and the new Steam controller felt awesome. I think a big part of it though is because of the sticks. The controller uses these TMR sticks that are a magnetic technology that's even better than Hall Effect. It's supposed to be just more reliable, less prone to drift, and also have smaller dead zone than the already great Hall Effect sensors you've seen. And these are unfortunately soldered on, but Valve is saying that this tech is so reliable that they really don't think people will ever need to replace those sticks. If you take a look at the back of the Clear controller, you can see these capacitive sensors at the bottom of the grip, and those are there to reset the gyro. So if you've ever used a controller's gyroscope and you're trying to like moving around, like I don't know, flying a plane or driving a car, or just aiming with the gyroscope, if you've ever gone to the point where you like have rotated your wrist or your hands in a position where it's like not a comfortable place and you're like, I want to control the thing, but like I want to turn more this way, but my hand's already here. It is you let go of the controller and the capacitive sensor will detect, okay, he's let go. So it disengages the gyro, you reset your hand, put your hand back, and now you can continue turning in that same direction instead of like twisting like crazy in one direction. And the idea of that is so cool. Personally though, I don't use gyroscopes. Like it sounds awesome on paper and I heard that people would love this feature. I couldn't test it properly because it's just not how I play my game.
Yeah, the gyros are awesome, people. I think gyro aiming and controlling different aspects of games with the gyro is amazing because it's like using a mouse. It's very precise. It should be standard. It really should. They need to make that standard for gamers so then they can use this feature and get used to it because it's far superior to an analog stick. An analog stick, they have to do all kinds of stuff software-wise in order to get that thing to kind of be useful. Analog sticks are good for movement, for looking around, and for movement in a game. They're not good for aiming. It's terrible for that. Once again, look how dry this guy's hands are. Wow. Anyway, we've gone to commercial again. I'm probably going to be getting out of here. This is a very late night edition of Foo Gaming live on rumble.com and YouTube. All right, you've been watching Foo Gaming. All right, this is the Valve, the new hardware from Valve, looking pretty exciting. Probably going to be back tomorrow. All right, with some more programming from the Real Food TV. All right. We got this tech guy. We got all kinds. Sorry, people. We got all kinds of channels on U-Cylinder. We got Amish people showing this hardware. We got it all, people. Look at this. We got Amish man from we saw the new Valve VR headset and more. Look at this guy.
In November, Sunday evening here in.
Right, we're gonna skip ahead. Oh, there's a control.
And the first question might be why
the Jaguars come back.
The Steam controller and why now? So when we made the first Steam controller, it was primarily focused for PC, mouse and keyboard games.
All right, we're going to skip ahead a little bit, but we're going to be getting out of here in a second. This guy went. We didn't get access. They got to send us access so I can go see this tech and review it, or preview it.
The puck they mentioned, like obviously that can be.
This guy always drinking beers. So you can't just fucking look at a video game system without drinking a big ass beer. Like, really?
I can just load that up, change the screen size,
Screen, which you'll see later. Yeah.
Excellent. Cool.
And then if you want to go into Half-Life Alyx, then you're just, okay, now I'm in.
Anyway, that's a lot of damn hardware. All right, we're going to be previewing some more of this, people, but it's pretty exciting. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. It looks pretty cool. Good luck there, Valve, and we're liking it. Let's hope you make another Half-Life. From what I hear, they're actually might be working on a new Half-Life. I still got to beat that, what is it called? Half-Life Alyx. I got to do it. Maybe I'll play it on the channel, see if I can do that. But, got to get out of here, people. I want to thank you all for coming in here tonight on this very late night edition of Foo Gaming Live. You're watching the Real Food TV, once again, live on YouTube and Rumble. We're migrating the channel over to Rumble. If you're on YouTube right now, if you want to support the channel, you can donate to our Venmo. I don't think I put my Venmo in the... I might have Venmo in the chat for the Rumble. But anyway, we'll be putting our monetization stuff into the channel later on. But I want to thank you all for coming in here. I want to wish you all a good night. Have a good night, everybody. See you later. All right? See ya. Thanks for coming in here. We appreciate it. And we love you. And we love gaming. See you soon. And by soon, I mean tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow.